The next item is item number 28, application for certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of the Bronx, docket number 14-7880, block 2504, lot 126, 1005 Jerome Avenue. The Park Plaza Apartments, an individual landmark and Art Deco style apartment complex designed by Horace Ginsberg and Marvin Fine and built in 1929 to 1931. This is an application to replace windows.
Preservation Department staff. The Art Deco style Park Plaza Apartments individual landmark is located kind of midway between the Grand Concourse and Major Deegan Expressway over on the west. The landmark site is L-shaped, as you can see here, with 5 blocks separated by courtyards facing Jerome Avenue, and then 1 block to the west at the north facing Anderson Avenue up the steep rise there. The building, this you can see a piece of the building here from the north, originally had multi-light wood windows, which have since been replaced following issuance of C of A in 1990 with aluminum windows. Mary Dirks is here to describe the proposal to replace these aluminum windows, and then pointers the red one.
Good afternoon, Mary Dirks. I'm the Historic Preservation Consultant for the project. With me are Philip Toscano and Agnes Glass-Lodge of Philip Toscano Architects, and Tony East, one of the owners. This was the Park Plaza Apartments, and it was one of the first Art Deco apartments in the Bronx, and it was designated in 1981, built in 1929 to 1931. This is the Jerome Avenue property. It's a lot of windows and a big apartment complex. As Catherine mentioned, the existing windows today are aluminum double hung, 6/6, and they replaced originally wood double hung windows. These are the existing windows. They're all, and we found, thanks to a super who had been there for many, many years, we found the only 2 of the original windows, and that's on the upper right. The windows today are, even though they're 25 years old, they're not in very good condition. They're leaking air and water, and a lot of them don't operate. The owners would like to replace them. Except for the unusual steel casement windows on the ground floor, which are just being refurbished. This is an unusual situation in that, is this now Anderson Avenue? Yes. This is Jerome, and this is Anderson Avenue. So it's like this whole other building, and it was built at the same time because apparently if they had a through block building, and this made it a through block building, and there was a big change in grade, they were able to add extra stories. They originally made this a 10-story building. There was a big fire in as it was being built in 1929, and when they rebuilt it to 8 stories on Jerome and 6 on Anderson. All of the windows, the aluminum windows, are legal, except for the front facade of Jerome Avenue. They're 1/1 double hung in kind of the Duronotic aluminum, and they're in violation. These are that's after the fire, and these are designation photos. What I'm going through is the window schedule, the plans. All of the windows are being replaced with 6/6 double hung, except for at the rear on Jerome, which is not visible, and on the side and the rear on Anderson, that is visible, they are secondary facades. The rear is barely visible. The elevations, existing, proposed. It doesn't really want to go very fast. Okay, thank you. Some of the windows are, oh, these are the Anderson 1/1s.
Are these replacement windows where you're going over the sash, or are you going down to the frame?
We are going to go down to the frames. The glazing percentage on the new windows is going to be closer to the original than the existing windows. It's going to be within 5% of the original, the existing windows on Jerome, or like 9% of the original. The brick mold is going to be a lot closer to the original brick mold as the panning. The panning is going to be a lot closer to the original brick mold. There will be minor variations in the bottom rail and the meeting rail. The meeting rail is about an inch, I guess you would say, higher, and the bottom rail is lower. Otherwise, they're
within the percentages that you mentioned.
yes. The overall percentage doesn't change.
This is kind of an outside grill with a fillet in between the two lights, but no inside grill.
Yes, it's
Go back to that.
Agnes, yes.
Is that right?
No, I don't think so. I
Go
think it's
back.
going to have a,
I'm looking at proposed mountain top right.
okay, Agnes.
Is there a thing on the inside?
No, as I understand it, there's an interior and exterior grill.
Hi,
Sorry.
Agnes Glass-Latch from Philip Toscano Architects. So in the proposed, the grill is only going to be on the outside and not on the interior,
There you go.
which is the way it is in the existing.
Right.
That's what was
Can I ask you a practical question? The original wood windows lasted 60 years.
Yeah,
They were replaced with aluminum windows that have lasted 25 years.
yes.
And you propose to replace the non-performing 25-year aluminum windows yet with aluminum windows again?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
The very, very high-end wood windows would be a lot more money.
No, but they might last 3 times as long.
They might.
Correct, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Wound up, Mary?
That's
Done?
it?
Okay, we'll go to testimony. Barbara? Zay?
Barbara Zay of the Historic Districts Council. HDC asks that other versions of the synthetic divided lights be investigated with an applied Muntin grid inboard and outboard that lines up with spacers in the insulating glass units. The use of better synthetic divided lights would uphold the level of detail of the existing Muntins. HDC appreciates the stronger effort made in replicating the brick molds, but wishes that a similar effort could be made on the mullions between the double windows in order to avoid looking rather plain. HDC also wonders whether a paint analysis was undertaken to determine the paint color for the windows. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other testimony?
The mullions, indeed, the proposed are flat. Originally, that's what they looked like. We have since found a designation photo on Anderson, which shows that they do have a profile, and while we're proposing flat mullions at this time, we're certainly willing to work with staff to get a mullion that's a better match to what was originally proposed. An official paint analysis was not done, but I did remove paint from the little bit of paint that was left from the old windows. I removed it and I matched it as best as possible to paint, and I think it's a pretty good sample that goes with the brick and with what looks to be the light color window in the black and white photo.
Okay, thank you. Discussion.
Yeah, so, I have these aluminum windows that we're replacing my really fantastically great 105-year-old windows that were working really great until, they fell out of the wall. And that was such a mistake, because now I really rely on this company that's called masterwindowrepair.com. They come every 2 years and replace the little, the balance, which breaks like this every 2 years. So enjoy yourself with your, I don't know how many hundreds of windows this is. But aside from that, as long as the profiles, I'm going to rely on staff for the profile matchings and all of that. As long as the profiles are in line with what was historically in the building, I'm okay with this bad decision to use aluminum.
Yeah, everyone's free to make their own mistakes. But I personally don't have a terrible problem with the Muntin profiles being somewhat suppressed trapezoids. I do think, though, that I can't remember a case where we've approved in a residential building the use of outer grills recently. Have we?
We do it quite frequently on large apartment buildings.
All right.
Chris? Okay. Joan? Okay, everyone in agreement. Michael, you want, yeah.
With great reluctance, I can support it if the profiles match as closely as possible the originals.
Okay,
I just want
yeah.
to say one. Have staff looked at any of the installations kind of a couple years later of those appliques? Because I seem to remember going to, maybe it was London Terrace or something like that, who did it. And it's maybe, yeah, and you can really tell they're appliques.
Yeah.
So I'm curious whether, we might want to consider the appliques on inside and outside from now on, at least.
We can definitely consider that.
Are these snap-ins or these are fixed?
These are fixed and integral to the frame. They're not snap-ons. The staff wouldn't approve snap-ons. Yeah.
Okay. Hearing closed, motion second. Marjorie, please.
In the matter of a certificate of appropriateness for 1005 Jerome Avenue, also known as 1000 Anderson Avenue, in the Park Plaza Apartments and individual landmark, application is to replace windows. I recommend approval with modification, finding that the removal of the existing modern bronze anodized aluminum replacement windows from the primary facade at the Anderson Avenue building, which were installed without Landmarks Preservation Commission permits, will eliminate non-sympathetic features from the landmark, that the removal of the remaining modern aluminum replacement windows, as well as the few remaining historic wood windows which are in deteriorated condition from the other facades at the Jerome and Anderson Avenue buildings, will not eliminate significant historic fabric from the landmark, that the proposed 6/6 configuration of the new windows at the primary facade of the Anderson Avenue building and the configurations at the primary front courtyard and side facades of the Jerome Avenue building, including 6/6 at the 1st through 8th stories, 3/3 at the basement story, and 1/1 at the narrow window courtyard bays, will match those of the historic windows, that the proposed double-hung operation dimensions and details of the new windows will match that of the historic windows, and as long as the staff verifies that those details are in fact matching, that the proposed beige-colored painted finish of the new windows will approximate closely that of the historic windows, that due to the large scale of the landmark, the proposed aluminum material of the new primary courtyard and visible secondary facade windows at the Jerome and Amsterdam Avenue buildings will not diminish the significant architectural and historic character of the landmark, and that the result of these changes will be to enhance the special architectural and historic character of the buildings and the Park Plaza Apartments individual landmark, provided that the applicant will work with staff to consider the muntins on the interior as well as the exterior. Yes?
Second?
And the details, that, I think I said that earlier.
Second. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Approved.